I wish I could play music without getting copyright strike. Yo, yo, yo. What's going on, everybody? Got, you could call it drama today. Fracturing of relationships between Microsoft and OpenAI. And then we're going to take a look at the Microsoft or Xbox Developer Direct. Yo, what's up? Xbox Developer Direct at 10 a.m. See what they have to say there. And yeah, just play it by ear, see what's going on. What's going on in the tech world. Man, speaking of copyright strikes though, I actually got, because I watched the inauguration and someone struck my video, but it usually the other ones, they're like, they claim it, I think, and then I could still have it up, but then if I had ad revenue, they would get ad revenue. But this one, they struck it, so it got taken down, and it was some random company who struck it, and I was like, and it was definitely not them who I was watching. It was like some like Indonesian like news network, and I think that there was just probably some like big ruse to just like strike every video that has the inauguration because they probably streamed it and then they could get, you know, revenue or whatever from it. But I was actually watching NBC, and so when the options in there, it's like, okay, obviously I'm going to fight it because I knew it wasn't them, but also like, I don't know, I thought it was fair use. Like I was providing commentary over it, like, I don't know, might as well try, it doesn't hurt, I guess. But then I was like, wait, but the people who struck me, it's not even their video. So like, why am I disputing something that's not even theirs? And so I was like, I just said that it was fair use and it was mine. And then in the little like dispute box, I was like, I was like, first, I don't think it's the people's video who actually struck me. But then second, I was like, I think it's fair use. I provide my commentary and opinion over the video, blah, blah, blah. And then they actually took, like, I actually won it, I guess, because I assumed that it wasn't even their video. So they're probably like, ah, shit, yeah, I guess, like, you know, we can't fight it because it's not our video. So, and I actually got it removed. So, hell yeah. Anyways, the World Economic Forum is still going on too, and I think that's what I want to watch Scale AI CEO Alexander Wang, who's kind of been actually a pretty like outspoken voice in terms of AI, and they're kind of the other bigger, like more B2B like enterprisey AI company. And they don't really do any consumer stuff, so they're not really known, but they work with the government a lot, and they have like big contracts, so his voice, his opinion does hold something. So I want to see what he has to say, and then we'll look at the OpenAI Microsoft drama, and then that'll probably bring us into the Xbox, what is it called? Developer Direct. Also, I'm trying a new strategy today too. I uploaded 2 shorts. One I uploaded at around 7 a.m. and the other it should have gone live like 15-ish minutes ago. And so I'm going to try and see if, while the shorts is being pushed by the algorithm and people are scrolling on it, if it will draw people to the stream, because they'll see my little live thing in the little bottom left. So yeah, we'll see if that the strategy works. Okay, let's start off with Scale AI CEO Alexander Wang on US-China race. Really asked him that just because he's Asian? Like what? And we need to unleash US energy. All right, let's listen. Professionals, speed this up. Wow. I did see that. Ah, shit, it's muted. Sorry, guys. Sorry, so sorry. I'll restart.
First time on the show, Scale AI founder and CEO Alexander Wang. His company provides accurately labeled data to help companies train their AI tools. And back in 2022, he became the youngest self-made billionaire in the world. Pretty amazing.
Thanks for having me on.
I want to go straight to what we were talking about off camera, which is the idea of where the US is on AI versus China, because you have some very surprising statistics that I think will probably, frankly, freak out some of the viewers.
So yeah, first of all, the AI race and the AI war between US and China, I think, is one of the most important issues of today. We took out a full-page ad on the Washington Post on Tuesday saying that, America must win the AI war. And so this sort of relative race in AI between the US and China is critical. Today, we released Humanity's Last Exam, which is a new evaluation or benchmark of AI models that we produced by getting, math, physics, biology, chemistry professors to provide the hardest questions they could possibly imagine that are relevant to their recent research.
And
to really
this is a trend because it's kind of hard. Benchmarks are actually harder than you think because most of the time the AI or like the model was trained on the data, or at least it's come up in the training data on problems that the benchmark gives it. And so you kind of, now we actually need to create like unique problems that the AI hasn't seen in order to actually benchmark its like true performance versus like giving it just a hard problem, which it could solve just by having it in its training data. Frontier Math was one, but it's interesting that they're coming up with a new one for other different types of fields. But I mean, realistically though, it's more so like, yeah, okay, this proves how smart it is, but like unless you actually turn that into like real solutions to things, it doesn't, like, I don't know, just kind of like a cool person you could talk to, I guess, to ask questions.
To give you a sense, no model is getting above 10% on this test. That being said, what we found is that DeepSeek, which is the leading Chinese AI lab, their model is actually the top performing, or roughly on par with the best American models, which are O1 from.
Okay, so I think we have been all under the impression that the US was way ahead of China as it relates to AI, in large part because we have access to, NVIDIA GPUs and chips and other things that supposedly the Chinese do not have. I keep hearing from people all week, from people, Chinese AI executives, that they say, we're so close. And by the way, we're doing it with one hand tied behind our back. Our algos are better. We're actually going to figure out how to do this, do it better than the US, and in even a more energy efficient way because we don't need these super powerful chips. They happen to be right.
There's two things happening. First, it is true. It has been true for a long time that the United States has been ahead. And that's been true for,
I do wonder if almost us nerfing China like we are will actually make them get ahead, because they're going to have to find ways to be just as good with the one hand tied behind their back. And so it's actually maybe gonna like make them like find better ways and more efficient ways to do things than the US would, because we could just throw a bunch of compute at it and it doesn't even matter. So I don't know, that's interesting.
Okay, that being said, the very recent event on Christmas Day, about a month ago, DeepSeek released a model, which, by the way, I think is symbolic that the Chinese lab releases, an earth-shattering model on Christmas Day when, the rest of us are sort of celebrating the holiday. And they released it to much fanfare, and then they followed up with their reasoning model, DeepSeek R1, which is the one that we evaluated as top of the leaderboard. The reality is yes and no. So
I literally, every time I go on like X or anything, that's all it is like this DeepSeek. It's all about DeepSeek. I say then there's like nothing on here about DeepSeek. Okay, here's DeepSeek. It is cheap though. Look how cheap it is though. It's so crazy. And if it's better than O1, this isn't even like O1 Pro or anything.
The Chinese labs, they have more H100s than people think.
And these are the highest powered NVIDIA chips that they were not supposed to have.
Yes. My understanding is that DeepSeek has about 50,000 H100s, which they can't
That's
talk about against
nothing.
the export controls that the United States has put in place. And I think it is true that, I think they have more chips than other people expect, but also on a go-forward basis.
I think it's nothing. XAI, Elon Musk AI company, just deployed a data center with like 100,000.
By the chip controls and the export controls that we have in place.
One single company. Microsoft has something like 500,000 or like 485,000 or something. There's we covered on stream actually, kind of someone reverse engineered the counts.
How do you work with everybody, so I don't know if it's fair or unfair, but how do you stack rank these large language models and who ultimately is going to be a winner? Or are they all so close and it gets commoditized?
The interesting thing that we see right now, so we actually specialize in this. We've produced our SEAL evaluations, our safety evaluations and alignment labs, evaluations which measure across many different dimensions. We measure across math capabilities, coding capabilities, multilingual capabilities, and reasoning capabilities, and many different dimensions, including tool use and agent capabilities. And what we see is different models are better at different things. So it's hard to put a clear stack ranking among all the models. For example, the OpenAI models are extremely good at reasoning, but the Anthropic models may be really good at code. And sort of there's a diversity of capabilities of the models. That being said, I think what we're seeing in general is
I agree with that, but I do think like to most people it's about this, they're about the same. Like I think they're all close enough that I would call them like almost all about the same. I definitely as someone who uses it more, you could see the differences. Like Claude like definitely like articulates things well and like speaks better, but I think to most people they're like all close enough that it doesn't actually matter.
Space is becoming more competitive, not less competitive.
I keep hearing from business leaders here that they're all playing around with, OpenAI, or they're playing around with Claude, which is the Anthropic model, or they're playing around with Gemini, et cetera. And then they're going and using Llama. They're going to find some open source version to try to get close to what they could approximate these other guys doing because of just the different price points of these things. Do you think that's the future of this? I think like in a Linux world?
There's definitely a dimension. It comes down to ultimately the level of capabilities and intelligence that are required for your use case. I think ultimately what we're going to see is, what we do with all the leading labs, including OpenAI and Google DeepMind and Meta and many others, is continue to push the frontier and push the boundaries. And so how do we leverage data, given that, as an industry, we sort of run out of publicly available data? How do we generate new data to keep pushing the frontiers? And our belief is that, advanced capabilities.
Well, I feel like data is kind of becoming a bit of a bottleneck though too, and we need to find different ways to expand its thinking past be able to have the AI generalize without adding more data. Like just make it actually be more be better at generalizing things with less data, just kind of like human brains are, I guess.
Capabilities are going to enable incredible use cases where you're going to be willing to pay for those increased capabilities. But for the more simplistic use cases, those will probably go more towards open source or more basic models.
We've been talking all morning about Stargate and the debate happening on Twitter between Sam Altman and Elon Musk about whether they really have $100 billion or $500 billion. Satya Nadella was sitting in your chair just yesterday saying he's got $80 billion, his money's real. He took to Twitter. What do you make of all of this? You know all these players.
So
perfect
much is on Twitter
transition.
Anyway, so I'm not sure I have
X, we should say.
Or
yes.
X. But I think one thing that is very real, regardless of sort of Stargate specifically as a program, is that the United States is going to need a huge amount of computational capacity, a huge amount of infrastructure. So this was actually we wrote a letter to the Trump administration on recommendations on how to ensure that the U.S. stays ahead. And one of them was really around infrastructure. We need to unleash U.S. energy to enable this AI boom. And that's clearly what we're seeing right now, which is, in addition to the Stargate program, many of the major...
Yeah, and I they better get moving on this, because if nuclear energy is gonna kind of be our bastion to save us from the energy demand we need, then we better get moving, because it takes years to build nuclear energy like plants, and even if like we don't, and even the small modular reactor promise is going to take a long time still, and so we better start building some solar. You know, I guess we're gonna have to use some natural gas, but even then I just don't even think that like our grid could handle just even like higher capacity in general.
Major AI companies and major clouds are going to be
So
looking.
it says we are a new kind of technological arm race. The Chinese government investing in AI at an unprecedented pace. In 2023, Chinese AI models were more than a year behind, but this is no longer the case. In the past month alone, we have seen very powerful advances in China's AI capabilities relative to our government. If the United States remains on our current trajectory, we risk falling and staying behind.
To produce, to build giant data centers. So
the reason I asked this about the different companies doing this, do you ultimately think we need 5, 6, 7 companies all trying to build frontier models? Or, I mean, there's been a talk forever that, you know, in a different, if Lena Khan hadn't been running the FTC, would have Amazon wanted to buy Anthropic already, for example, or would have Microsoft bought OpenAI, or would have some of these folks, so there wouldn't be as many, everybody competing against each other in the same way. I don't know, maybe you think the competition's great. I just don't know how long term, how many models there ultimately will be like that.
I mean, our view is actually that this is potentially going to be one of the greatest markets or the greatest industries ever. You know, right now, let's say there's between 10 and $20 billion of LLM-based revenue. And if you believe that we're actually on a track towards superintelligence or AGI, then it stands to reason that that's going to go to $1 trillion or more of revenue. And so if you're looking at a market that's going to go from, let's say, 10 billion to 1 trillion over who knows how many years, I tend to believe a fewer number of years. I think we're sort of in the 2 to 4 range.
2 to 4. 2 to get to AGI.
Dang,
What's your version of AGI?
I think...
I don't know. I'm thinking more like 6 to 8. I think 2030s are going to unlock a bunch of things because there's a lot of things happening in 2030. I think around then is when we'll start to see more.
Yeah, obviously there's
serious.
You know, the definition I believe in
stuff.
is are powerful AI systems that are able to use a computer just like you or I could, and could use all the tools that a computer could, and could basically be a remote worker in the most capable way.
Oh, they cut it off. Yeah. All right. That was interesting. Actually, that was one of the more, you know, we've watched a bunch of CEOs here at Davos, and this was one of the more like, I don't know, I just feel like I got more out of it than like the other like CEOs just kind of like talking shit, I guess. But yeah, it's interesting. What was there something else in the end here? You said
$20 billion of LLM based revenue, and if you believe,
oh yeah, the market. Yeah, McKinsey actually predicted. I don't know if I could find it in time, but McKinsey actually did predict markets. I could find it. The next big arenas of competition. Yeah, this is McKinsey. This is robotics, but they predicted the next big markets, the next big arenas of competition, saying that could be anywhere from these markets could be from 29 to 48 trillion dollars in revenue. Two of which is artificial intelligence, software, and services, and they predict that by 2040 it could be 4.6 trillion dollars in the high range of scenarios, 1.5 trillion in the low range. So that's by 2040. That's a while, and I'm sure that there could be things within these timelines to that could disrupt this and to either speed it up or potentially slow it down, but more likely speed it up. Just having a more optimistic view of it. So yeah, anyways, it's interesting. So yeah, it's not true. I've been kind of over this, like these hype men lately. So anytime they say something like hyperbolic like this, like I need something grounded here to like make me believe that it'll actually come to fruition or is true. So yeah. Anyways, let's see if there's any other interviews they did. And then we'll cover. I want to actually watch. There is a Morgan Stanley one actually. These are not in the scope, even though I want to watch that one. Okay, let's see. There is a Ray Dalio, I believe. Oh my god, they upload so much. I guess it's just from TV. Where's the Ray Dalio interview? Satya Nadella. Gosh, I might have saved it to a playlist. Oh, let me. Watch later. Here we go.
We have another big guest to bring you right now, Bridgewater founder Ray Dalio. He's got a new book. I don't know
Bro,
if it's a
he's
book
fucking
or
old now, bro. I haven't seen him in a minute, bro.
really an essay or a treatise,
It's a thing.
really. And it's called How Countries Go Broke, Principles for Navigating the Big Debt Cycle. And it is going to be available online soon.
It's
not
available.
already. It's available now.
Yeah, I'm putting it out part by part. It's got 4 parts, and then in about 2 weeks it'll be all out, and it's free on a PDF because.
Okay. Why is the playback speed not working? Give me 1.5 times.
People don't know the mechanics, and
Right.
government officials don't know the mechanics. And so this went back for 35 countries. What is the mechanics? What is too much debt? How does it
Right.
work? How does it end? So I wanted to convey that because it's the most important political issue that's going to be in front of us.
Let's break it down, because it is very true. We are going to have taxes on the table this year in the United States, and we are going to have deficits on the table, and they're interconnected. How the deficits get dealt with is the fundamental question. You've been studying this stuff for a very, very long time.
Yes. And it's not just an American issue. It's a Chinese issue. It's a European issue.
There we go.
It's a Japanese issue. There is a supply-demand issue, and there's mechanics of it. I hope we can touch on those mechanics, but there is a path forward, and whether you take that path forward or not is going to be critical for
Okay,
the
so
bond market.
let's talk about it. And what is that path? And you're right. I've been arguing, I don't know if you agree, that the bond market, more than anything else, is going to be the governor on all of. If there is a governor on the politics of our moment right now,
That's
given that you have a red
I don't know what's going on.
Congress, Senate, and the White House, the only governor, if you will.
Yeah, we read a report yesterday or the day before, 2 days ago, by JP Morgan, where they think that if bond prices go above, or if interest rates go above 5% for like the bond market, then things are going to kind of break, and we're slowly ticking up on that. Like bond interest rates. Was driving, but you're not having an energy ban. From an industry standpoint, you're right. Seeing a lot of my clients facing energy issues, even in neighborhoods due to ADUs. Even in neighborhoods? Dang, for like the dwelling units in the back, that's crazy. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about that. I just feel like it's consumers are going to kind of get screwed over in this environment here, because corporations are going to be wanting to really take all the power, and it's just going to raise prices for consumers, which sucks. But yeah, it's crazy. We need to start moving, start building stuff, like it's going to take a while for these projects to get going. Yeah, bond prices continuing to go up. I mean, just tiny, but this is slowly trickling up, even though interest rates are going down. It's weird. Even the UK, even German. Anyways,
Politically, in a weird way, maybe the bond market.
Of course, because interest rates, the government interest rate is the backbone of all markets, right? Stock market, bond market, all borrowing, all lending, everything, right?
Mhm.
So in answer to your question of what is the solution, or what needs to be done, and it's almost a black and white situation, is think of the number 3%.
3%.
3% of GDP.
Yes.
We have a projected deficit of 7.5% of GDP. That means all those bonds have to be sold. And then, because of the supply-demand imbalance, when you sell bonds, when I calculate who are the buyers of the bonds, there will not be enough buyers. And then it could be worse in this dynamic.
Yeah, there won't be enough buyers for the bonds. Has that even ever happened?
Is those who own bonds also sell the bonds. And when that happens, there's a tremendous supply-demand, and then we have problems. We can get into what it looks like. It's happened many times before. So we have to stabilize that, and we can do it. That's what I call the 3% solution. 3% solution is that you can cut it down from 7.5% to 3%. Now, what people don't realize is there are 3 ways of doing that. They understand.
Yeah, and right now, with Trump's cuts that he wants to make to taxes, his immigration, his deportation stuff, his cuts to not only personal but corporate tax, everything, And with the stuff that he wants to, and with tariffs coming in to make up for that, there's still a $2 trillion deficit. So Trump still has to find $2 trillion. Conveniently, Doge, Department of Government Efficiency's goal is to cut $2 trillion. Makes sense that, that's the case. But they said that that's the best case scenario, and likely it's going to be way less than that. And so, of course, as usual, the deficit's going to rise under the Republican because they do all these cuts and don't have a good enough plan to make up for their spending. And then even in that report we read that stated this, he was like, yeah, and conveniently, all the GOP fiscal hawks who, are literally hammering the Democrats about the deficit are just going to slip back into the bush here while, Trump raises it, and then they'll pop back out once Republicans not in office anyways.
And that there are taxes,
Yep.
there is spending,
Yep.
okay. But what happens is, like in 1991 to 1997, there was a comparable decrease in the budget deficit, because if you do it when the economy is good, you will get a lower interest rate. And the lower interest rate means less cost of the debt, because we have so much debt that the interest cost on the debt is more important than spending and taxes. And so you can get there, and if you get there, you'll get a bond market rally.
How do you get there? Because there's going to be a big question come this summer about what.
Bro, I want there to be a rally in bond markets. The heck? I have a lot of bonds, and I've been T-bill laddering to get higher interest rates, since interest rates are going down. The Federal Reserve lowering interest rates, a lot of savings accounts interest rates go down to make up for that, so they can make money on the margin. But if you buy bonds directly, which is essentially what banks do, with your savings account money, you could get a higher interest rate. So it's only little. So right now, I think my bank gives 4%. And if you buy bonds here, you can just buy 1 month, a T-bill, the treasury bill, you get 4.3%. Doesn't seem like a lot, but 0.3% on, tens of thousands of dollars kind of adds up over time, especially if you compound it. So yeah, and you T-bill ladder where you buy 1 month treasuries, or you could buy 8-week ones and stuff. You buy 4-week T-bills every week for 4 weeks, and then it's essentially a ladder that rotates. And so your money is only tied up for, you'll have depending on how you split it, you'll have money coming in every 4 weeks. And so the risk isn't or you'll have money coming in every week, because these 4 weeks keep going, kind of stagger. And so the risk is much less, because you'll have your money in a week, at least part of it, if you need it. But it's also bonds, which are super safe. So just kind of an easy way to get some higher interest rate. And it's super easy just through the government Treasury Direct, where you could buy bonds.
Whether you extend the tax cuts as they are, whether you make them even lower, does that help on the growth side? Will you ever make it up on the other side? How do the tariffs relate to all of this?
The biggest problem, I think, is that everybody has their particular way.
Okay.
So I think it's first of all the members of Congress, all the president should basically say 3% of GDP. Now, because they have all their particular ways.
But then it's how do you get there?
Okay. First, if you make the pledge. Second, if you can't agree, you would you'd say, I'll do everything proportionately. By way of example, if you did everything as your backup, then you work from there. If you can deliver any form. So yes, if you can deliver cost cuts, but you have to pledge to deliver those cost cuts. You have now.
He's he knows Donald Trump would just fucking lie straight through his teeth.
Smart ways and there are stupid ways, okay, of doing that. But and everybody will argue over that. But you must achieve the 3. So I think the 3% pledge, 3%, we will do 3%. If we can't even agree on how we do it proportionately. But let's work together on trying to do it. Because our problem isn't the deficit. Our problem is the politics, the fragmented politics.
Let me ask you a separate question, which is, and
not wrong.
we talked about it multiple times during this last 3 hours. Becky raised it at the very, very beginning of the show. We were discussing a Wall Street Journal article that was talking about P ratios at the beginning of effectively a presidential campaign, not a campaign, but a term, and just how high they are now, at historic highs, even relative to where they were before.
The market is so expensive right now.
Reagan, for everybody. If we are here together a year or two from now, do you look and say these markets, these equity markets, are going to be higher than they are today? They're going to be lower than they are? Do you look at this as a great investing environment, given the backdrop of deregulation, all of the things that the president is saying he plans to do? Or you say, wow, we've gone pretty far already?
we have gone pretty far already, and particularly in certain sectors and so on. But the biggest influence is going to be what I'm talking about. Because if you have those multiples and you have a rise in interest rates,
right?
Okay, you will have a pop. So, and we focus on that deficit question. But yes, of course, it's fragmented.
As in like the market bubble.
Led by the sectors that are great sectors, the disruptors, the AI and so on. I don't think it's been carried down to the applications of AI. In other words, the uses of AI. So if you're watching, as I'm watching around the world, and by the way, it's very interesting, what's going on in China with AI in terms of applications, other places. The applications of AI are under discounted, I think. And then, of course, what is the term? What is the multiple? The multiple is an extension of the interest rate.
That's an interesting, the applications of AI are under discounted. That's what the title said. The applications of AI under discounted. So to me, that makes me think that he's saying like down market beneficiaries of AI are undervalued. So those who are gonna those who are going to use AI to solve problems in their business, but like maybe haven't yet. I feel like that's probably what he's talking about. That kind of goes in line with this. I always come back to this because we're seeing it play out in real time, but you know, these first two phases have seen the benefits of AI, especially in the stock market. They're insanely expensive. You know, TSMC, Nvidia, even Broadcom, ASML, which sells TSMC equipment. Would businesses that are indirectly related to it also be included that, but benefit from AI? Yeah, I guess like what I guess. I mean something like indirectly related to something like energy, I guess. But yeah, I think indirectly related. I'm not sure what right now is that. I'm sure that it is. But I think though it depends on, I guess how, I don't know. I need to see more examples or understand it more. But I assume that he's kind of talking about like these more down market companies who maybe take these products, take like, you know, Microsoft Copilot and then like make things out of it. Oh, I see. Probably in the under discounted. I assume that's what. Yeah, I'm just. I don't have any caffeine right now. All right, I can't find caffeine. Yeah, I think that that's exactly what he's talking about. That down market, those who aren't directly related to AI, but will see benefits still of other industries and things implementing it. I think I would take that as yes. That's what he's talking about, because I think everyone's just going to the direct. The ones who are like either making the products or have some sort of like hand in the actual like supply chain of AI, like making it, like Nvidia making GPUs, TSMC making Nvidia GPUs, ASML making equipment for TSMC, kind of going down like that chain. I think, you know, we really have only seen probably like, you know, we're getting here now, like they're definitely deploying it. But it's still a lot in deployment phases or something similar. And we, you know, I've looked at reports on Monday. We looked at a report and they said that by the end of 2024, people are expect to have their rollouts, like a lot of their big AI rollouts, their project rollouts done. So we really won't see any benefits until those are actually finished and roll out, which is probably sometime this year. And then there's gonna, you know, be time for everything. So yeah, it's all right. It's all right. I need to understand something a little more before I could think about it. I don't even know. Yeah, anyway, so but I think though it's kind of it is riskier to go into companies with the only thing that you're hoping is that they use AI to make it more efficient, because that puts a lot of confidence. You put a lot of like confidence in a company who likely isn't a tech company to then figure out this complicated tech. So I think that there's a reason why right now it is like that, though. I imagine that people who are buying lots of like who investing, actually I take that back, but I don't know, people who are investing like more institutionally, like Ray Dalio here, like understand that and like they know that, but I guess maybe it's more so like the retail investor. Yeah.
But that means you would be long this market right now?
No, I have to be diversified. I don't want any particular right now. I don't want to be overextended on an alpha. And also, I would say one thing is, I don't think we think enough about what's alternative money. Mm-hmm. We only think everybody's. Okay, so when you think about
give me some alternative to what's alternative.
Overextended on an alpha. And also, I would say one thing is, I don't think we think enough about what's alternative money. Mm-hmm. We only think everybody's. Okay, so when you think
everything's long,
give me some alternative to what's alternative money right now.
Okay, gold is an alternative money, right? Yeah, and it's a very effective diversifier. So if we're dealing with some Bitcoin, debt is money.
Right.
In other words, when you're holding debt, you're owning a promise to get money.
Right.
And when you own money, essentially you're holding it in debt.
You've held
and I think that is our biggest risk.
Our biggest risk.
That's our biggest risk. The money part of the risk. There are great things that are going on in innovation and change, but people don't pay enough attention to the interest rate, the PE, but also the cost of it. People have a tendency to think a great company is a great investment without looking at the price.
This is not what I thought. This was more about AI stuff, but it was still interesting. Maybe learn something. I don't know. I guess just to hear a different perspective. Okay, it's interesting. It seems like, unless there's anything else that's going to come out today, it seems like they interviewed all the cool people at the World Economic Forum. Trump talked there this morning. I watched like 2 minutes of it, but he's just kind of saying the same shit now. Pinterest CEO, bro? What's he even doing there? Okay, let's look at let's read this Stargate drama here, since it's in my title, before the 10 a.m. thing. The idea you're holding money, you're holding it in debt is kind of a shower thought. Yeah. The idea of, if you're holding money, you're holding it in debt. Yeah. That is interesting. And definitely a shower thought. It's a shower thought, and then like an investment bro like Ray Dalio like turns it into an entire book. It's like, okay. Scale AI. Okay. Going here. Literally, yeah. Okay, Stargate. The saga continues, and I think this is going to be a pattern, because when we're talking $500 billion, the Sackler family in Purdue Pharma struck a deal for $7.4 billion. That's crazy. Okay. I think though that this is going to be a trend, because when we're talking about $500 billion, people want in on that. Businesses want a slice of that pie. Like that's bigger than most countries, entire GDP. It's bigger than most industries in general. And so, yeah, when you got some of the most powerful people and corporations involved, like, I don't know, there's gonna be ego. And especially Sam Altman. Like, no offense to Sam Altman, but like he's definitely he's chasing the clout now. Like he's clout chasing. He wants the power. He got a little taste of it, and now he wants that. And so he has his own motivations, I think, and I don't really know what they are, but so. And then Microsoft is, established, and it's kind of been OpenAI's like parent chasing them around, like, okay, no, come over here. It's like, no. It's like, okay, you need to ask permission. You have to ask permission, remember. You want to go to a new cloud compute? You have to ask permission. So, yeah, so it's kind of interesting times for this, and it's very fitting for the Trump administration to start off with a bang like this and then keep going. So, yeah. All right, let's read into it. OpenAI's Stargate deal heralds shift away from Microsoft. The partner that launched the AI boom has been strained by disagreements over computing resources, and this is the key because everyone is struggling with this. Yesterday I was using Claude, and I couldn't even use their new model or the latest model because compute restrictions. They put me on like the concise response and gave me their like smaller model because they can't even keep up with the demand that's there because there's just not enough compute. And the fact that NVIDIA is delaying rollouts of their new Blackwell series like DGX data center GPUs. Everyone just frothing for some compute. Okay, Microsoft absence from OpenAI Stargate announcement follows months of tension between the companies and signals a new era in which longtime partners will be less reliant on each other. Yeah, and Satya Nadella yesterday, he was interviewed at Davos with the interviews we've been watching, and he was kind of like, I'm not too sure on the details, you know? But we have $80 billion that we're spending on data centers for Azure. At the White House press conference, a ChatGPT maker announced Stargate, a venture with Oracle and tech investor SoftBank. The new company plans to spend up to $500 billion building new data centers in the US to help power OpenAI's development. The assembled leaders, OpenAI's Sam Altman, Oracle's Larry Ellison, and SoftBank's Masayoshi Son, and President Trump discussed how AI could create jobs and even cure cancer. NVIDIA CEO Satya Nadella was thousands of miles away at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. The developments show. I wonder if they did that on purpose. That's actually interesting. I didn't really think that Satya Nadella was there, and it is weird that Larry Ellison wasn't there because he seems like someone who would go to this, and even Masayoshi-san. So it is kind of sus that's weird. The development show how the OpenAI Microsoft partnership that helped trigger the generative AI boom is drifting apart as each company focuses on its own evolving needs. In the months leading up to the announcement, the two sides had been haggling over what to do about OpenAI's seemingly insatiable appetite for computing power and its contention Microsoft couldn't fulfill, even though their agreement didn't allow OpenAI to easily switch to others, said people familiar with the discussions. Well, that's one sentence. OpenAI is almost entirely reliant on Microsoft to provide it with data centers it needs to build and operate its sophisticated AI software. That has been part of their agreement since Microsoft first invested in 2019 with the success of ChatGPT. OpenAI's need for computing power surged. Its executives have said that ending the exclusive cloud contract would be crucial to compete with rival AI developers that don't have the same constraints. But they actually do. Okay, so this is interesting because if other AI companies like Anthropic, who has Amazon backing, can't even get compute, where's OpenAI gonna go to get compute now? Like now they don't need, like, Microsoft gave them permission to go, saying, I think the deal was essentially if Microsoft can't provide it, then you could go, but we have to allow you. But if Microsoft can provide what your needs are, then you have to go with us. It's like the first deny or something. But okay, now what though? It seems like it's kind of like, I'm trying to think of an analogy, but I can't. But they now could go to anyone else, but there's just no compute left. Like, they're competing with everyone else now. So like, what makes them special besides them potentially paying more money? But they don't even have that much more money than any of the other big AI companies. You know, like, why wouldn't Anthropic then just go and use more? I know Anthropic might actually have a deal like for exclusive like AWS, Amazon usage or something, which is what OpenAI has with Microsoft and Azure. All right, the two have been arguing over capacity on and off for years, the people said, and talks have intensified in recent months. Like other tech giants, Microsoft has rapidly increased its investment in AI infrastructure and recently said it would spend $80 billion on AI data centers in its current fiscal year, but it also has other customers and partners besides OpenAI. OpenAI wanted Microsoft to allow it to get cloud compute elsewhere, such as Google. Microsoft has insisted that would be a violation of the exclusivity agreement. Altman has complained that Microsoft was violating the agreement by not providing it with enough data center capacity, people familiar with the matter said. Yeah, okay. Last year, OpenAI and Microsoft discussed building their own supercomputer for training OpenAI models, but it didn't happen. thing. People familiar with the matter said some of the details about the supercomputer were reported by the information. While Microsoft wasn't the center of the announcement this week, Altman maintained that his relationship with the biggest backer remains good. Yeah, because I think OpenAI still needs Microsoft. They still can't do shit without Microsoft because that is their primary compute provider. And, it's like we can't go. They can't, like, who else are they going to go to, I guess? Like, the competition, the supply, or the demand is just so high. When one X-user said Stargate meant that friendship between OpenAI and Microsoft was over, Altman responded with a popular internet misspelling of the word more. Absolutely not. Very important and huge partnership for a long time to come, he posted. We just need more compute. Yeah. Dang. It's literally just, they just need compute. Microsoft said the relationship between the two companies is still strong. Nadella, in a television interview, that Altman wants to build enormous AI models and Microsoft wants to focus on integrating into software. Yeah, Microsoft realistically needs to translate the actual AI stuff into products to sell because that's where Microsoft makes money. OpenAI makes money. I mean, well, technically they hardly make money because they're not profitable, but they make it from like ChatGPT, but also their API, and people then build things with, their API, like build products. And Microsoft is honestly one of those companies who has to build products to create more value and to actually sell it. They can resell OpenAI's models on Azure, but that's like peanuts in terms of money. The real money is in creating software, negotiating enterprise contracts, and then them overpaying for something that does the job half-assed. This was an adjustment, quite frankly, that we made in order to support both his needs, while at the same time keeping the integrity of what we wanted as the strategic value, he told CNBC on the sidelines of the World Economic Forum. In Microsoft, I think OpenAI, I'm trying to think of who has more leverage in this relationship. I want to say OpenAI kind of does, but I think just because of the name and ChatGPT and the momentum it has, but I feel like with Microsoft being their exclusive cloud providers and them relying on them, and also Microsoft owning 49%, I feel like Microsoft kind of has the lever here. Yeah. I just don't think OpenAI could go anywhere else and get as much compute as they can with Microsoft, as they are with Microsoft. Microsoft has invested nearly $14 billion in OpenAI since 2019, making it the startup's largest investor by far. OpenAI is a major customer for Microsoft's Azure cloud business, and its technology is the backbone of Nadella's broader AI strategy. Details of the Stargate structure and financing are still unclear. If the venture builds even part of the announced infrastructure, it could give OpenAI a competitive edge. But it's not going to be done for years. They talk about it's gonna be done tomorrow or this year. It's this is this data center is 10 buildings or something. It's insane how big it is. It's not gonna be done for a while. Unless they pull an Elon Musk and build it in 121 days, but we're talking Oracle here. Literally the most enterprisey enterprise there is. Details of the Stargate structure and financing are still unclear. If the venture builds even part, for Microsoft, Stargate could mean it has less hold on its AI partners, but also exposed to less risk. It's exposed to less risk. How do they come to that? Less risk because they're not the exclusive provider of OpenAI, but how would that provide any risk? I don't know. In its own announcement coinciding with Stargate rollout, Microsoft said much about its relationship with OpenAI will remain the same. It will continue to host OpenAI software on its Azure cloud computing platform. That means when people use software like ChatGPT, OpenAI has to pay Azure. It will also continue to build out some new data centers for OpenAI. Yeah, but I do think that Microsoft gives them either a significant discount, or that's what Microsoft, when they invested 49% in OpenAI, they're like, we'll just give you a bunch of free Azure compute credits because you're going to need it anyways. And I think that's how they kind of paid for it. So I wonder if they're either coming up on the end of those, or... Microsoft said when OpenAI requests computing capacity beyond its current agreement, it gets first dibs on whether it wants to build them. If Microsoft passes, OpenAI can solicit other companies. Got it. So yeah, this is the new deal. Microsoft's executives had mixed feelings about the benefits of building high-end data centers to train AI models, said a person familiar with the matter. While training AI models gives Azure experience with cutting-edge AI technology, it is expensive and has limited immediate financial upside. Training is how AI models are built. It is after they are trained that they can be used for marketable products. Yeah, and that's the key. That's the key. Altman first approached Microsoft in 2018, asking it to help finance the company. Despite some resistance from leaders like then Chairman Bill Gates, interesting, I wonder what his reasons were. The company invested and began allocating significant resources for the startup, often at the expense of its in-house products. Interesting. In late 2023, OpenAI's board of directors unexpectedly fired Sam Altman as CEO. Nadella played a central role in helping Altman return to his post, at one point publicly offering to hire Altman, departing members of OpenAI's team to create an AI unit within Microsoft. Altman was reinstated as CEO within 5 days. The episode drove home the precarity of Microsoft's reliance on an unstable AI partner. I guess this is probably the risk then. Maybe the risk is just them not having control, Microsoft not having control. And maybe there's this maybe it's like a weird in-between where it's like they own 49%, but they can't tell them what to do, and they still are their own company. And so, but Microsoft is like, and they're like a little unpredictable because they're like a startup-y, vibe. And so they're just kind of breaking things and like doing things a little messy. Microsoft's more established. They need more SOPs and, following directions and like standardization. And the fact that Microsoft has to kind of like parent this company and like push them around, and then also like provide all the toys for them, like the compute, then, it's kind of like they're more like a babysitter actually than a parent, I'll say. And so, yeah, bro, if this kid is gonna like, climb something when you're turned around from them and fall and get hurt, like, yeah, I could see that being having risk. That's kind of how I guess I'm taking their risk statement as. Microsoft has diversified away from OpenAI. It invested in French competitor Mistral. Oh, it invested in Mistral? I didn't know that. Oh. That's interesting. Okay, I'm glad I actually I'm holding Microsoft in for like at least some AI play, because I like Mistral a lot. I think they're an underdog who's doing good, and they're gonna IPO potentially soon. I look to see investing in them. We'll cover them though. If they do IPO, we'll look at all their paperwork and stuff they file. And offers Meta's Llama's models on Azure. Last year, Microsoft incorporated models from OpenAI's rival Anthropic into its popular AI coding assistant GitHub Copilot. I've been using that and it's been pretty good. The details of how and when the money will be raised for the build out remain to be seen. Elon Musk, whose xAI is a competitor to OpenAI, questioned the scale of the announcement. Musk wrote on X that two of the companies behind the project didn't have enough capital to follow through on their pledges. Altman responded that Musk was wrong. Dang. Yeah, so this is interesting, actually. Microsoft playing out here, like what's actually gonna happen. I just feel like OpenAI still needs Microsoft more than Microsoft needs OpenAI, especially now that Microsoft's just making their own models. Like they're just like, yeah, I don't know. Interesting times. Okay, let's not to jump super quick over, but it starts in 2 minutes. I wonder what they're even going to talk about. Okay, Microsoft Developer Direct. Deep dive into some of the incredible games on the way for Xbox players this year. Also means PC players. This show will include extended gameplay and developer insights for Doom: The Dark Ages. Wait, there's a new Doom coming out? South of Midnight, Claire Obscure, Expedition 33, and a mystery 4th game. Ooh. Oh, I see. This is what it is. Standfall Interactive. Role-playing game developed by Sandfall, publisher. Lead the members of Expedition 33 on their quest to destroy the paintress so that she can never paint death again. Plural, okay. Yes, this one just doesn't really seem up my alley here. Kepler Interactive. Oh, they made Sifu. Oh, okay. Or they at least published it. This is their first game. Okay. South of Midnight. These games like look the same. Seems cool. Action adventure from Compulsion Games. Bro. Oh. And then Doom Dark Ages. Still making Doom games. These games always visually look great. All right. Games you're about to see are in development and do not represent the final products. Sit down. Peggy 18. Okay, geez, we get it. This has to be Doom, right? Did they do it like as a meme or like was that serious? Sorry. Use my alternative player to block ads. Okay, I don't even know. What was that intro, I guess?
Konnichiwa, 超えてくもゲームスチーム忍者の安田文彦です。今日は皆様にチーム忍者が長く大切にしてきたアクションシリーズの新情報を発表できる機会をいただけてとても嬉しく思います。早速ですがこちらをご覧ください。
I don't even remember this one.
the dark dragon, youngest of the divine dragon gods, wreaked havoc across the world. The plot was ultimately thwarted through the efforts of a sole ninja. However, the dark dragon's husk remained, and from this husk fell an endless downpour of cursed rain. The abandoned Tokyo continues its struggle against chaos to this day.
Infiltrated the facility. Commencing mission.
That's a cool logo.
No escape.
Quote. What game is this? Got a cyberpunky. No idea.
Weak.
Like, I don't think it's any of these.
This is it. Ryu Hayabusa.
Whatever your clan is plotting, it ends here. So you've come.
Whoa.
Raven.
Back off, Hayabusa. I will execute my mission.
Ninja Gaiden. I almost said Gaijin. Is it
世界中の
Gaijin?
町人の皆さん、10年以上
Is that what he
大
said?
変お待たせしました最強の忍者となり容赦なく襲い来る敵に挑むハイスピードアクション忍者ガイデンのナンバリング最新作として忍者ガイデン4を発表させていただきました。本作はプラチナゲームズさんとの協業で開発を進めています。
Platinum Games.
プラチナゲームズさんのアクションゲームというジャンルにおける実績は言うまでもなく、ベヨネッタやニアオートマタなど素晴らしいアクションタイトルを
That's oh, it looks like Nier
Automata。 忍者ガイデン
Automata.
4というタイ
Automata.
トルを10年以上の時を超えて新たに皆様にお届けするにあたり、より多くの方に新鮮な気持ちでプレイしていただけるよう、新たな世界を新主人公であるもう一人の町人ヤクモで冒険するという形で制作することにしました。先ほどご覧いただいた映像の中で竜ハヤブサも登場しておりましたが、彼は今回の物語に密接に関わってきます。
Yeah.
なぜヤクモと戦うことになったのか、竜ハヤブサが戦う目的は何なのか、本作の物語の中で展開していきます。
任務は必ず成し遂げる。邪魔をするな。
物語は黒竜がもたらした正気の雨によって荒廃した首都東京が舞台となっています。この雨は黒竜がまだ生きている証であり、雨が止まない限り東京に安寧は訪れません。今作の新主人公であり、ハヤブサと対をなすカラス一門に所属するヤクモが首都東京で黒竜を倒し、この世界を晴らすため戦いに身を投じます。
Sonic vibes from that.
これまで忍者ガイデンシリーズで描かれてきたダークでハードな世界観は継承し、そこにさらに危機を感じさせる要素として呪いやより混沌とした景観のデザインを取り入れています。ステージプレイ中に街が呪いの影響を受け、ビルは崩れ、道は歪み、ヤクモをピンチに陥れることでしょう。舞台となる東京はとある出来事によって街全体が崩壊し、魔族やヤクモと敵対する勢力がひしめき合う状態になっており、環境全体がプレイヤーに牙を向くように感じられるはずです。前作より立体的に自由度の増した危険に満ちたステージを忍具やシリーズおなじみの体術など忍者アクションを駆使して乗り越えていくことになります。レールアクション、スイングアクションなどのダイナミックで爽快なシチュエーションを多く追加しました。これら以外にも様々なシチュエーションやチャレンジ、隠されたアイテムなどを用意しており、 ステージが進むごとに上がっていくテンションにも驚いていただけると思います。
新しい主人公のヤクモは竜ハヤブサに次ぐ新たな町人です。彼にはまだ若さも残っていますが、カラス一門を背負う天才忍者でもあり、忍者外伝シリーズにおける忍者の頂点、竜と肩を並べる次世代の町人たり得る人物としてデザインしています。
Master Ninja of the Next Generation。
そんなヤクモの前に立ちふさがるのは荒れ果てた東京の治安維持組織であり、黒竜の封印を守る竜神島や現世に蔓延する人ならざる者妖魔、
Visuals are
そしてもち
great。
ろんシリーズおなじみの魔人も登場します。また現時点では公開していませんが、新たなキャラクターやシリーズファンの方に喜んでいただける人物も登場しますので、続報にご期待ください。
従来のシリーズからバトルスピードをさらに加速させ、目にも止まらぬスピードで敵との攻防を繰り広げることができます。
Yeah, reminds me of like kind of the
さらにヤクモが使える新要素、
like Batman Arkham,
ヌエの型を駆使した
like
ダイ
that
ナミ
kind
ッ
of
クな
style
攻撃によって
of combat, which
これまで
I
から大きく進化した
think a lot of other games have taken on that are more modern.
これまでの
Don't play enough games like that.
広範囲かつ一撃必殺の攻撃となっており、多勢に無勢の状態が長く続く戦況を一気に覆すことができます。もちろん1対1の戦闘における比率も健在です。プレイヤー同様、敵もガードや回避をしてくるため、緊張感のあるフェアな戦闘を味わうことができます。敵の動きをしっかりと捉えながら、一瞬の隙を逃さずに攻撃を仕掛けていくことが重要です。ヌエの方によって忍者ガイデンのアクションの味わいにさらなる進化を感じられるかと思います。
特にアクションに関しては手触り、バランス調整など細部にわたり日々議論させていただき、会社の垣根を越えた密なやり取りをさせていただいています。本作の主人公であ
Cool
るヤクモ
viewing,
は
like you're
竜
playing
とは一
place.
味違うアクションを有していますが、その中でもしっかりと忍者ガイデンらしさを感じていただけると思います。例えばカラス、ヌエ、2つの型があるという点がヤクモの大きな特徴ですが、それらが持つ多彩な性能のアクションを用いて敵や状況ごとに使い分ける攻略の深みや滅却、絶技などを絡めた抑揚あるスピーディーな攻防などはもちろんヤクモでも健在です。
ヤクモと竜ハヤブサはそれぞれがかなり異なる個性的な遊び心地になっていますので、さまざまな戦闘バリエーションを楽しむことができるようになっています。ヤクモ、そして竜ハヤブサの双方で飛燕、伊豆名落としなどシリーズおなじみのアクションも駆使しつつ、新アクションを織り交ぜた新しい忍者ガイデンにご期待ください。忍者ガイデンシリーズに色濃く残っている歯ごたえやグレードの高いアクション体験の継承、さらに我々プラチナゲームズの特徴であるスピーディーなアクションやダイナミックな演出も取り入れ、進化した正当続編を作り上げるべく総力を挙げて開発を進めております。
容赦ない敵とのいかなる攻防にもフェアに戦える手触りをヤクモでも目指しています。皆様に進化した忍者ガイデンを触っていただける日を楽しみにしています。
シリーズファンはもちろんのこと、忍者ガイデンを初めてプレイする方でも存分に楽しめる作品になっておりますので、
So we must be getting more
ぜひ
than
発売をお
the
待ちください。
what's cool
長年
earring.
にわたってプラチナゲームズさんと共にまさに忍者のように潜んで忍者ガイデン4の開発を進めてきましたが、ついに発表することができて、
Bro, this studio looks like cool as fuck in Japan. Like all these guys, like bro, what the fuck is here?
楽しみにしています。
Like I don't know, they just like dress very trendy. Bro, that's what I'm saying. Guy, right? It sounds like they're saying gaijin.
本日お伝えしたい発表はそれだけではありません。こちらをご覧ください。
Hey. Hey. Like an extended trailer or something. Real. They're like on an aircraft carrier or something. They're like a Star Fox style. The Super Smash Bros. Level. Whew.
My path leads through the land of the dead.
This game looks very satisfying. Like it all looks very smooth, movement and stuff.
And thus the sun sets on the Dragon Ninja bloodline.
Genshin, go back to hell.
All paths before me are cruel and arduous. Our time has come.
Ninja Gaiden 2のオリジナル版は2008年に Xbox 360
Oh my, oh.
This is again like very much like if you and I were working.
Okay.
Like, hey, I did this.
Emergency interruption, emergency broadcast.
I added.
I guess OpenAI is just announcing like new features, operators and agents. All right.
綺麗なグラフィックでお楽しみいただけるのはもちろん、竜はやぶさに加え、綾音、もみじ
They got the twink on stream, it's important. Just kidding.
そして本作は本日、コンソール、PC、そして Xbox ゲームパスでこの後すぐに発売となります。忍者ガイデンシリーズを長年応援いただいている皆様はもちろんのこと、本日忍者ガイデンを知っていただいた皆様も忍者ガイデン4の発売前にぜひ本作をお楽しみください。今年はチーム忍者創立30周年の節目であり、本日発表させていただいた忍者ガイデン4を含め2025年は忍者の年、イヤーオブザ忍者となります。ぜひ忍者ガイデンシリーズの展開にご注目ください。本日はありがとうございました。
Fall 2025. Oh, that was a mystery game. They started with it. Dang. This looks like a trendy studio in a different way.
Hi, and welcome to Compulsion Games here in Montreal, Canada. At our studio, we care about world building, and we treat the setting almost like a character of its own. From the magical noir of contrast to the alternate history of We Happy Few, we draw inspiration from
they made We Happy Few. Oh.
Mood, drama, and intrigue. For South of Midnight, our third-person action-adventure game, the story and characters bring a folkloric Deep South to life. This gave us a chance to explore Southern Gothic themes with a dark fantasy twist. So while our protagonist Hazel is at the forefront of our story, it's the macabre elements and larger-than-life creatures that will leave a mark on her journey and growth.
Looks like it's supposed to have like this stop motion-y kind of look to it or something.
Did you pack everything?
Mama, this ain't my first hurricane. I know what to do.
As long as you didn't forget the
Or maybe not.
flashlights and batteries.
Oh, shit, we got 5 minutes. Let's go.
Won't be rushed if you didn't.
Don't mumble. Speak on it.
I said we wouldn't be rushed if you didn't waste all that time at the shelter.
Now, you want to bring this up right now.
I'm just saying.
Hazel, please.
We might need some help. I might need some help.
Coraline? Yeah, totally. Same.
Hazel.
Yeah. Oh, shoot.
Hazel may start her journey as a typical 19-year-old, but
mocap
disastrous
actress
events will push her into a darkly magical world where she'll learn who she really is and how to tap into weaving, an ancient magical power that redefines her trajectory in life.
The land itself chooses Hazel as a weaver. Someone who can see beyond the surface and tap into a deeper reality, the grand tapestry. Weavers can see the fabric binding our world, connecting people, nature, and echoes of the past.
Keep those hands to yourself.
Hazel can perceive both the mystical strands and stigmas in the world. Through her newfound power, she reweaves these stigmas and mends the afflicted creatures she encounters.
As Hazel discovers her power, the world gradually shifts into the surreal, revealing that creatures from the old folktales actually exist.
You up here, my salvation.
Among them is good old Catfish, the storyteller who becomes both the guide and companion to Hazel across the
Been
game.
watching the new Catfish
I
season.
hear about a new weaver such as yourself. Would you kindly do your weaver thing and help me down?
Meeting Catfish marks the true beginning of Hazel's journey. All of Hazel's arsenal and powers are designed around textile crafting and traditional spinning wheels. Her weapons include a spindle, 2 weaving hooks, and a distaff. Her magic abilities manifest with supernatural lace-like patterns, blending the traditional craft with mystical elements. Hazel engages with the world through a variety of movement abilities. Those abilities also help Hazel progress on a journey.
As her journey unfolds, Hazel will master new weaving abilities, using them to traverse the world, conjure objects, and confront adversaries.
This game is not what I
Combat
expected it
about
to be.
understanding and adapting to different enemy archetypes known as Aints, the manifestations of corruption Hazel encounters.
These Haints trap Hazel in combat until she unravels them, destroying them in the process.
Each Aint has its own unique moveset, strengths, and weaknesses that you'll need to learn and adapt to. For example, the slug burrows on the ground and unleashes devastating strikes from afar, while the Ravager closes the distance with chilling speed. Hazel can counter these threats with agile melee abilities to execute powerful combos, jump attacks, and charge attacks. But close combat is risky and can backfire because Aints have powerful defensive abilities. Mastering your magical skills become the key to gaining the upper hand in combat. Push, pull, and weave are some of the spells at your disposal that give you a tactical advantage during a fight. Timing is everything. Pull distant enemies close to start melee combos, push them back to interrupt and stun their attack. Then press the advantage with follow-up strikes. Spells interact uniquely with each enemy type, creating dynamic combat scenarios, especially when facing multiple types of opponents at the same time. Once near death, enemies can be unraveled, breaking their core and setting them free of their corruption, which has the added benefit of providing health boosts and reducing ability cooldowns. If you play your combos right, you can enhance Hazel's combat readiness and keep on chaining her abilities. As Hazel progresses in the game, she unlocks new moves and improved abilities, and you'll have to decide which areas to prioritize. The upgrades will change how you approach combat, like enhancing area of effect attacks, or refining push and pull skills to improve precision and make them feel more rewarding. The combat system is fast and responsive, built around chaining attacks, landing precise strikes, and unraveling enemies.
You mind if I take a look around?
You can see every place old Molly terrorized and more. Now for the low, low price of $1.
In Hazel's search for her mother, you'll explore multiple regions, each ruled by a mythical creature with their own Southern Gothic history. You'll gradually uncover the
Southern
backstories of
Gothic.
these beings, once human or animal, who were transformed by tragedy, their secrets waiting to be discovered. As a weaver, Hazel heals these creatures by collecting fragments of haunted memories. We call these echoes, which reveal each creature's past. Hazel must experience these echoes before she can mend them.
What kind of person would do that to someone?
We design each region to reflect the creature that's been doomed to wander it. From the atmospheric environment to unique music themes composed for each one. While not all encounters lead to direct combat, Hazel will need to face mythical creatures in epic confrontation before she can heal them. Our boss encounters and gameplay sequences also reflects the uniqueness of each creature, with distinct mechanics that center around a specific thematic. These encounters feature multiple phases that ramp up in complexity. As the encounters progress, the musical theme builds up, cranking the tension alongside the fight. Whether it's Two-Toed Tom or hugging Molly, Each of these larger-than-life creatures is inspired by Southern folklore and lead to climactic battles.
We got a long journey ahead.
South of Midnight unfolds as a hero's journey, and as Hazel, you'll travel through a tapestry of Southern-inspired landscapes. From abysmal swamps to flooded farmlands to the Appalachian peaks. In our magical South, decaying buildings reclaimed by nature stand moments away from a hungry Rugal. And as Hazel delves deeper, reality bends ever more.
Delves deeper. They use AI, right? This.
The history, landscape,
Trailer
and
about the game
folklore
is
of the
so
American
long.
Deep South fill our world, and our team has infused the game with thoughtful details and environmental storytelling, like our bottle trees and haint blue porches, which are said to ward off evil spirits.
It's like a lot. This is
The
kind
weight
of like
the
in
past
depth
emerges as central
for all these
themes,
4
which you can
games.
see through old abandoned buildings and businesses struggling to survive.
Behind
As you
the scenes
explore, you'll meet locals who stayed behind even in the face of a hurricane.
So I'm the last person left here. All those damn haints. This part of the river's filthy with them.
Artistically, we're staying true to our moody compulsion signature style. But this time, we're using a handcrafted approach inspired by stop-motion animation, which allows our team to bring a distinct personality and tone into every prop and character. Because this folklore is open to visual interpretation, we embrace the freedom to reimagine these creatures and their stories, to adapt how they look, and to craft our own version of a fantastical Deep South.
At
Yeah.
Propulsion Games, we love to craft around central themes. We're lucky to have talent across all our disciplines that collaborate to give South of Midnight such a unique personality. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive into South of Midnight. We're thrilled to announce that the game will launch on April 8th, and pre-orders are now available on Xbox and Steam.
Right, next. Oops.
Bonjour everyone. We are Sunfall Interactive and welcome to our nano.
Kind of cool getting to see like inside the studios of like how they work.
Studio based in Montpellier, France, working on our first game, Clair Obscur Expedition 33. It's a turn-based RPG.
Oh,
set in
I
a
see.
fantasy version of late 19th century.
Like
medieval
Persona.
France.
Here we are.
Wow, the visuals are
Our
great.
grand adventure in game development actually started as a solo passion project. I wanted to create something like the JRPGs with turn-based combat I grew up with and loved, but that fully leveraged the latest tech, refreshed the genre with new features, and took place in a compelling world. I knew I needed help to realize my dream. First, I turned to a programmer I knew would get it.
Guillaume and I started trading ideas right away, and that quickly turned into trading files back and forth. Soon, I was creating the first prototypes of the reactive turn-based system, combining real-time offense and defense element, and a cinematic battle camera system. Things really clicked when we tested the first version of those features. We felt we had something both challenging and fun.
As Tom and I went back and forth and iterated on game elements, a vision started to come together, and I shared it with an old friend from university.
Guillaume and I are both passionate gamers, and when he described the project, I quit my job the following week and joined the team without hesitation.
Dang.
Because I believe that in video games, success always starts with a strong creative vision. And we had that, defined by 3 core elements. A story with great emotional depth, gameplay that innovates on the classics we love, and a world that is completely original, beautiful, and immersive. We founded Sunfall Interactive on these tenets: a group of friends with a shared vision and the drive to make something great.
This too is your legacy. Core to every great RPG is a compelling story. And Guillaume and I spent 4 years intensively developing and refining ours.
Wow.
And that started with the hook. 67 years ago, a massive slumbering paintress and a monolith appeared with no warning. Once a year, the paintress wakes and paints a number on her monolith, and everyone who has passed that age is erased. Every year, that number ticks down, and everyone dies younger and younger. Expeditions depart to kill the paintress, determined to fight until their final breath, but none have ever returned. Our story follows Expedition 33.
Expeditioners, we honor your dedication.
Guillaume and I knew early on that we didn't want to focus on good versus evil. What's interesting to us are people who, yes, are flawed, but who care deeply about each other. And conflicts arise because they have different perspectives on what needs to be
There's
done.
a croissant in his
I'm
desk.
sorry about it. We wanted our story to feel dark and mature, with adult characters who feel like real people with real experiences.
I'm always missing something that everyone else just gets.
The heart of the story is about overcoming an existential threat while struggling with loss and grief. And it's rooted in the characters' relationships, both to each other and to themselves.
What are we gonna do, huh? Tell me. What are we gonna do?
In a world like this, how does one stay hopeful or make peace with their fate? What duty do we owe to each other or to ourselves? These questions are deeply personal to me, and they permeate the story behind the story.
Know that Lumiere fights with you. Tomorrow comes Expedition 33.
The characters all have their own motivations and perspectives. Gustave and Lune are deeply invested in the expedition, even if they fight all the time. To them, the mission is tied not only to their family, it's central to their identity and purpose.
Protocol doesn't cover every contingency. You know that.
Contrast that with Ciel, whose darkest days have already happened.
What are the stars whispering to you?
Actually, the one
Yeah,
whispering
I'll be right
to
back.
them. It's something my dad and I used to do.
And Maëlle, who cares more about really living her life, not just living longer.
Gustav, are you real?
It's not all dark, though. Along the way, they meet various colorful NPCs and recruit Monoko, who is a friendly but kinda bloodthirsty philosopher and a fully playable character. He has a really cool battle mechanic where he can turn into the enemies he defeats.
What are you doing?
Just need your foot. Aha!
He's very, very old and has seen many expeditions come and go. He is a jest troll, which are a group of playful beings who view battle as a form of meditation. They're fun and sort of ridiculous. You'll meet Monoko and many other jest trolls across the game. And of course, there is Estier, who is one of the oldest and lore-wise the most powerful creatures in the verse.
Estier is that powerful?
He will be your mount and help you travel to secret corners of the world. And if you bring him back his special stones, you can unlock abilities for him to access new areas of the world and find exciting secrets.
I'm strong, but I'm not that strong.
Everyone has their own reason for joining the expedition, and each of them has their own story arc and resolution that we think players will really connect with.
In addition to a strong narrative, we had a clear vision for our own take on the genre's core gameplay. Our reactive turn-based system takes the traditional turn-based battle mechanic we love and adds real-time reaction, which gives combat greater intensity and dynamism. During enemy turns, you can negate all damage by dodging or parrying at the right time. But balancing turn-based with real-time mechanics took a long time to get right. During initial playtests, turn-based players often found the real-time elements too hard. Some of us are still traumatized by enemies from back then. We've done a lot of rebalancing since, and with a lot of iteration, we ultimately came up with a formula that we're proud of. Players who are good at real-time can take more risks, and others can counterbalance with items and strategies. A big part of that formula lies in the many ways you can customize your character. We spend a lot of time designing each character's unique mechanics and their custom skill trees. Our philosophy is making every type of playstyle viable so that everyone can have fun with how they play the game. Each character has a unique mechanic. Mel switches between stances which can alternately boost defense or power. I personally like to make Mel the protector of the group, but I'm pretty much the only one at the studio who plays her that way. Most people play her as a glass cannon with Gustav's complementary skills. The characters can also equip hundreds of passive effects, which in our game are called Lumina. Every character has more than 20 unique skills in their skill tree and hundreds of passive effects they can gain through Lumina and weapons. So there are a ton of builds and playstyle to explore. Needless to say, we can't wait to see how you choose to play and what kinds of build you'll design that we probably never even imagined.
Our story is set in the French fantasy world, and I was really excited to design something unique. Every level has its own color and texture identity. For example, the Gestural Village is an early area in the game where players can enjoy a fun break. We wanted something that feels chaotic, grungy, and toy-like. It's basically a bazaar. Everything's disorganized, chaos everywhere, huts are unsafe, built without much thought. It's a place where anyone could fight you at any point, which is pretty much what the Gestrals are like. The Gestral Village is hidden inside the ancient sanctuary. The ideas here were forest, labyrinth, and sentinels. I designed it as a vibrant place, like an old graveyard of Gestrals, or forgotten wooden toys in a box, with two main colors, red and white. I wanted to make it feel cozy, hidden from danger, with traps and labyrinths in case enemies get in. Same process with the characters. Minoko came in a single concept. I thought of a monkey-like body, white fur with a black and red flat mask.
Ladies, could I?
Ow!
Definitely a Gestral.
For Eske, we needed a cuddly companion to take us around the world. I thought instantly of a giant inflatable balloon and old Victorian pillows with many intricate motifs. We start with the core themes and ideas, and the visuals grow organically from there.
From the very start of the project, there was one thing that we absolutely wanted to bring back from older JRPGs. A feature we really loved, but is very rare these days. A completely 3D and navigable world map. Yes, we've got a world map. And it was a real challenge to create, both artistically and technically. And it ended up a lot bigger than we expected. You'll definitely need Eske's help traveling around.
Here we go! What the
We're
heck?
super happy with the result, though, as there's a lot of side paths and entire hidden levels. If you want to fight the toughest bosses of the game, you will have to explore. Good luck.
We've poured our hearts and souls into this game for the past 4 years. That's why we're delighted to announce that Expedition 33 launches on April 24th on Xbox Series X and S
Day after my
and
birthday.
is available day one with Xbox Game Pass. You can already wishlist the game and follow us for more info.
4 years on their first game with this big of a studio just seems like such a risk. This better hit or else that's pretty much it.
Can't wait for you to discover our story, our world,
Looks
and our take on the
good.
genre.
Not, you know, my type of game,
On
but
behalf of everyone at Sunfall, thank you for joining us. Tomorrow comes.
Demain viendra.
Tomorrow comes.
Demain viendra.
Demain viendra.
Tomorrow comes.
dang. Doom? Please no DMCA. Copyright strike.
Hello, and welcome to Dallas, Texas, home of id Software, where more than 30 years ago, a small team of game developers helped define and set a course for first-person shooters. A lot has changed since then, but our team is as passionate as ever. And the most important values at the core of our games, innovation, craftsmanship, and performance.
Does it make any other games besides
And as you're about to
Doom?
see, those
Like
values
today?
are infused in every aspect of this latest installment in the legendary Doom franchise. It is an honor
Wolfenstein.
to work on this game, to carry on its tradition of creating all-out, groundbreaking levels of fun.
So
I
now,
didn't have it.
we're excited to share with you a look at our most ambitious game yet.
Yeah, Quake.
This is Doom: The Dark Ages.
That was so stupid, I mouthed the words. In Doom: The Dark Ages, you will feel like the superweapon in the center of a medieval war against hell. Set in a cinematic sci-fi fantasy world full of locations to explore, powerful weapons to unlock, and enemies to conquer. This is a prequel to Doom 2016, and that's given us the opportunity to reimagine every aspect of this experience. So if you're new to the franchise, then Doom: The Dark Ages will be the
Hell yeah,
perfect
brother.
entry point into the series. And if you're a longtime fan, then you'll be proud to see, in a lot of ways, the feel of the
He's like, it's filming day, and he's like, I need to dress
so let's
up.
break it down, starting with the combat. In Doom Eternal, you felt like a fighter jet. In Doom: The Dark Ages, you'll be an iron tank. Heavy, strong, but still fast. A grounded combat system with an emphasis on power over the acrobatics of Doom Eternal. And a balance between enemy projectiles and player movement speed that makes strafing to aim viable again, just like in the classic Doom games. But it's not all about nostalgia. Innovation is the goal, always. And so for Doom: The Dark Ages, it's an all-new world with new tools and new mechanics to master. Let me introduce you to the Shield Saw. Block. Throw. Parry. Deflect. All from one input. It's contextual, tons of depth on a single button press. You know, we want every Doom game to stand on its own as a unique experience. So in 2016, we asked you to run and gun. In Doom Eternal, it was jump and shoot. And in Doom: The Dark Ages, you're gonna stand and fight. And the Shield Saw will give you the strength to go head-to-head with some of the biggest, baddest demons we've ever created at id. But that's not all. Because if you're gonna stand and fight, then you gotta have something to follow up that opening parry with. How about an iron flail? Or maybe an electrified gauntlet?
They make like the entire game around like 3 weapons.
That's right, we have 3 melee options that are part of a melee system. All on
I mean, like, no offense, like, respect, but like, you know, it's kind of a, they're print like copy pasting the game with like a few tweaks here and there.
Completely in the player's control glory kill system. From any angle, in and out, as you see fit. And it feels amazing. You'll feel unstoppable, smashing your way through the horde with total freedom. And that seems like a ton, but that's just 2 inputs. We got one more really important button that we haven't talked about yet. The trigger. That's right, we've saved the best for last.
One of those things you expect never actually are that exactly.
And Dark Ages has some
Exactly.
of the most ridiculously powerful weapons that we've ever created. Mean. Ancient. Brutal torture machines built to butcher.
It's like oatmeal you eat it in the morning, but you enjoy it. Yeah. Literally.
Only in Doom. That's the mission statement for the design of these never-before-seen, insanely fun-to-use tools of mayhem that only the Slayer has the power to wield. So let's take a look at some extended gameplay footage and see how these medieval mechanics synergize with the enemies and the environments to form the new combat loop for Doom: The Dark Ages.
All right. Kind of upfront, like, yeah, you know, it's a loop. What? Whoa.
And under the hood, for the first time in an id game, we've made our combat more approachable and flexible than ever before, with a new difficulty system and sliders that will allow players to tune the speed and challenge of the game to whatever fits them best. You can slow things down or speed them up. It's a Doom for all.
That's cool, actually, though.
And the gameplay doesn't end with
because like Doom's a lot about like the flow. It feels like
we finally have for you. You've been waiting for 2 games now to get in and pilot your very own 30-story Atlas, which is a mech. It's the size of a building. It's powerful, and you can beat giant Titan-sized demons to death with your gauntleted fists.
Doom
and
mech.
if that wasn't enough, we also have for you your very own fire-breathing, Gatling gun-toting cybernetic dragon. Neither of these are one-and-done features either. They have a full suite of abilities and even mini-bosses. The spectacle is epic. The power fantasy is unlike anything we've made it in. And the combat systems behind these features are deep and tons of fun. And as cool as all that is, we know that fans of single-player action games expect more than just great combat to pull them through the experience. So we're excited to share with you not just the gunplay, but the world of Doom: The Dark Ages. Your hero's journey will take you to the far reaches of the Doom universe. Mysterious worlds from the Slayer's past, dark forests, dungeons, ancient hellscapes, battlefields, and worlds beyond. And through exploration, you'll be unlocking new abilities and godlike powers every step of the way. Now armed with your trusty shield saw, you're gonna cut, leap, and smash your way through environments full of secrets and treasures. There's always something new waiting to be discovered or destroyed. Now let's take a closer look at just one of the many missions you'll experience in Doom: The Dark Ages. In this level, you will meet the enemy at the gates and save a city from certain destruction. Explore the medieval battlefield outside the castle walls, seeking out targets and enemy formations along the way to engage with as
his
you
doors
see
look
fit,
weird.
with any gun you choose. Explore what is the largest play space ever in a Doom game, discovering secret caves and dungeon-like mines in search of vital resources. You control the pace of the game, where you go, who you fight, and the objectives you pursue. It's a Doom sandbox full of war and riches. Once you've broken the enemy assault, head back to the main gates, because the battle isn't over yet.
Dang. It's the mech. Like, how are these guys like bred?
And the soundtrack to your epic adventures.
Like, how big's their mom and dad?
Providing you with a
Unless they're made in like a vat. But even the vat, bro, it's like the size of like the Empire State Building.
Pure adrenaline. You'll feel like you're expanding the legend of the Slayer with every mission you complete.
Or it's like come up from like the depths of hell or something.
Of that legend,
or
the story
fantasy
of
like.
Doom: The Dark Ages, like everything else in the game, is big. It's a summer blockbuster event with everything on the line, and you are the star.
Has there been a Doom movie?
Your power is coveted by your enemies and withheld from your allies. With the Slayer imprisoned at the start of our story,
Cool character.
the balance of power between good and evil is shifting, and time is running out. It's a new story and the perfect entry point for new players. It's easier to access now as we've taken the narrative out of the codex and into the cutscenes, featuring new characters,
Interesting.
old allies, and powerful new villains. And for returning players, it leads directly into the Doom 2016 Slayer's Testaments. It's an action story worthy of the Slayer's legend.
We've got 10 years of making modern Doom games together, and we've done better with every game we've made.
The hope with all this, the goal, is to give players an experience that's as fun to play as it was
Really
to
talk
make,
about behind them.
and make something that's good enough to become the best game id has ever made.
But that is for you to decide. When Doom: The Dark Ages releases,
When? Oh, this May. Pretty soon, I guess. All right, that's it. No Phil Spencer guest appearance. Oh, but here we go. Nope.
I cannot move.
This is behind the scenes.
This is so like.
You will feel like the superweapon in the center of a medieval war against hell.
All of Hazel's powers are designed around textile crafting and spinning wheels. The combat system is built around chaining attacks and unraveling enemies.
Our reactive turn-based system has a real-time reaction, which gives combat greater intensity and dynamism.
忍具やシリーズおなじみの体術など忍者アクションを駆使して乗り越えていくことになります。
皆様に進化した忍者ガイデンを触っていただける日を楽しみにしています。
All right, this is just definitely wasn't what I thought it would be. I thought it would be more like less pre-recorded, but it's cool. Marketing. Okay, I just want to take a quick look at the OpenAI thing, and then we'll probably end stream here. How long was it? 30 minutes. Okay, I just want to see them like say what it is, and then we'll.
Agents are AI systems that can do work for you independently. Good morning. We've got something exciting for you today. We're gonna.
Bro, Sammy's like, is he graying? Bro, the past like year has caused him so much stress, bro. He's fucking.
Our first agent. AI agents are AI systems that can do work for you independently. You give them a task, and they go off and do it. We think this is going to be a big trend in AI and really impact the work people can do, how productive they can be, how creative they can be, what they can accomplish. We're starting today with Operator. Operator is a system that can use a web browser, in this case a web browser in the cloud, to...
Okay, also, I uploaded a short. I was trying to hack the system today, and I uploaded 2 shorts in hopes that they would get pushed by the algorithm while I'm streaming, so it draws people to the stream. I think it kind of worked, because I did get like quite a few, like at least stragglers view the stream today, but... Dang, my one short that I uploaded about saying how companies need to actually start making products out of the models that they're making to be able to actually solve problems and like get it into people's hands to actually use, it has 6 dislikes, 2 likes. Like, what? I feel like people just hate AI stuff, and especially more like, no offense, like kind of normie-ish people. Like, they're still like defensive against it. And so when it gets pumped into like something like shorts and it's just like in front of people who don't like AI, just immediately gets disliked.
To accomplish tasks that you do, and we'll show you a demo in just a second.
But honestly, any engagement helps, so
it's really
little do they know.
Just like you would use a web browser, you can get pixels in, you can look at a screen and control, an operator can do that and control the keyboard and mouse and do all sorts of things. This is going to go...
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, like, I definitely think it's here to stay. And it's just a phase of emerging technology. I've really been understanding eye rolls. Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I've just been understanding that's kind of just what, like, you just have to deal with that, especially with any emerging technology. Think of crypto. Like, crypto's still hated, and I actually posted about how I think cryptocurrency struggled across the trust chasm, this little thing in between here for emerging technologies. And AI arguably has kind of already crossed this in some instances, or is crossing it now, and it's getting into like the more mainstream market. but it's gonna be like this. Like there's gonna be a lot of friction until it kind of gets into more like mainstream stuff. Crypto like hasn't really done that in my opinion, and that's kind of a I feel like of a emerging technology that people still kind of hate on to this day because it just hasn't really gone there. I'm a bit more optimistic with AI. I think it's kind of either already crossed it or it's crossing it now, and it's kind of getting into more mainstream markets. Arguably the consumer market is a lot further than the business market, but yeah, I think people are just defensive, but I don't know, I'm optimistic. I think it's here to stay. The fact that like government's getting involved or investing all this money, like I don't know. So yeah, just I feel like it's just like if you cover emerging technologies or things that like are like pose some sort of threat, I don't know. I guess it's kind of comes with it, but
go live today in the United States for pro users. And other countries soon. Europe will unfortunately take a while.
Dang it, pro! Oh wait, pro users? Is that the what one is that? Is that the $200 a month one?
And we'll also in the coming months make it available to Plus users. This is an early research preview. We've got a lot of improvements to do. We'll make it better, we'll make it cheaper, we'll make it more widely available. But we really want to put it in people's hands. We'll also have more agents to launch in the coming weeks and months. But that said, we'll talk more later. So excited, just want to show you a demo. I'll hand it over to Yash.
Right, thanks Sam. Hi, I'm Yash. This is Casey. That's Ray. And we work on the computer using agent team. And we're so excited to show you Operator today. As Sam said, Operator is an early research preview. It will do a lot of cool things. It also makes mistakes, sometimes embarrassing ones. But let's show you what Operator can do. Okay, so this is the Operator homepage. It's at lives.operator.chatgpt.com. It'll be accessible as soon as the live stream is over. And as you can see,
okay, operator.chatgpt.com.
These are meant to be things that, you know, to give you an idea of what Operator can do. We've also collaborated with various brands like OpenTable, AllRecipes, StubHub, Uber, Thumbtack, DoorDash, eBay, Target to make sure Operator really works well on these websites. But also, we think users will find Operator very valuable in interacting with these platforms. So with that, let's jump into the demo. Okay, so I'm gonna start with something fairly simple. I'm gonna use OpenTable and say, book me a table for 2 at Beretta tonight at 7 p.m. Okay. And he specifically shows OpenTable. Yeah, in this case, I'm
bro, yeah, dang it, it's on the $200 plan only.
Book a table for 2 at Beretta's restaurant in San Francisco. It's great. Just try it out. And at 7 p.m. And I'm using OpenTable in this case, but I could have easily said just do Beretta, and it would have probably gone to search engine, figured out how to make a reservation as well. Let's see what it does.
So can you explain what's happening in this?
Yeah, right. So I'm going to expand this a little bit. So as soon as I type in the query, Operator instantiated a completely remote browser. This browser is running in the cloud somewhere, and as you can see, it's already up and running. And my hands are off the keyboard. I'm not typing these things.
This is just the AI is clicking around.
AI is just clicking around. It
okay.
Started this browser session. It knew where OpenTable website is, which is OpenTable.com. As you can see,
finally, this is true agents. This is like truly you could ask it to do something like this and it'll go and do it for you. This is cool. Now I wonder how much how many integrations there actually are.
Summarize chain of thought here as well, which is go to the URL, search for Beretta, and something cool really happened, which is for some reason Operator OpenTable thought we were in Virginia, and it auto-corrected itself to San Francisco. This is using, so like ChatGPT in Operator, you can also give custom instructions. I'm going to show this really quickly here. Okay, so I've given a custom instruction that for queries that need it, I live in San Francisco.
Oh, okay. Bro, this is such a hard start because they're not showing what's like actually like where they're getting this from.
Recognize that and then auto-corrected itself to go to Beretta. Okay, looks like 7 p.m. isn't available. But you know what? 7:45 is just fine. So we're gonna go do that. So in this case, Operator came back, and this is a really good example of task delegation where Operator needs help or needs assistance or just wants to ask something. Let's come back and answer that.
So you wouldn't have to watch this. You could just let it go off while you're doing other things, and it would come back and say, hey, I can't do 7:45.
Totally. Yeah. And we're starting with a web app. You'll get notifications. Check out when Operator moves into mobile. You'll get mobile notifications, much like interactions we do with general apps. Okay, yes, that's great. Let's do it. Okay, so again, very simple interaction as you would have with an assistant, which is, hey, I found reservation 7 p.m. wasn't available. Let's do 7:45. And again, you can see Operator at this point has said, okay, should I? Again, this is a really good example of the confirmations work we're going to talk about a little bit later. But you know, before doing an action, which is sort of irreversible in this case, we can cancel the reservation obviously. But again, taking a critical action, Operator is asking us before actually doing it. In this case, I'm going to say, let's do it. Okay, it was pretty quick. I would say like 50 seconds. And again, we were watching in this case. It's like but as Sam said, take it off and go. Okay, so let's try
Thursday. Okay, no stream.
Unfortunately, that table is no longer available, so it's gonna probably go and find alternate time slots. Oh, that's kind of cool actually. That's never happened before. Yeah, that's great. That's very tricky. Okay, while it's doing that, how about we try something a little bit more complicated? Groceries. Yeah, I love groceries. So I've been using Operator to shop all my groceries. I love to cook quite a bit and
delivery, local services, shopping, travel, news.
I have been using Operator exclusively for groceries. So I have a shopping list here, which is this one. Let's see what it is. Eggs, spinach, mushrooms, chicken thighs, chili crunch.
There's a picture that got
That's exactly right. And I'm going to use Instacart, which is again what we use generally. Can you buy this for me, please? And I'll also specify the store I like, which is, well, let's see if it figures out.
Gus.
Let's see. Okay, so in this case, again, Operator quickly actually recognized using GPT-4's vision capabilities to understand that the image said eggs, spinach, mushrooms, chicken thighs, and it actually knew this is market. And yes.
And you could save the task. That's interesting. It's all coming together now. Finally, like they're kind of tasks, which I don't even use because like this just doesn't even seem useful to me. But now that you could do stuff like this.
Go ahead and start doing testing and expand the view, and let's see what it does.
So in both these cases, you said what you wanted to use. If you just say buy these groceries and don't specify Instacart.
Bro, like this is so much compute power. It's insane. Probably, like they have a headless. They have Chrome. They're just running Chrome. Like Chrome uses so much RAM.
It will do a search, use a search engine much like we do, and it'll find Instacart or Gus's directly website or whatever else is on the search engine. Go through that, ask you questions if it needs clarifications, and go from there. I'm curious what's happening here, though, Rick. Do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
So now that you've seen a bit of Operator, let me talk a little about the research behind it. So Operator is based on a new model we've trained at OpenAI, which we're calling the Computer Reasoning Agent, or CUA for short. So CUA is a model built off of
CUA? Computer reasoning? I don't know how I feel about that name.
GPT-4o, but it's also trained to use and control the computer in the same way that humans can.
But it's used GPT-4o, which is kind of their base model. Okay, interesting. I wonder if they're like, this is besides the point, but speculating. It's interesting that like we thought we would have a new model now by like GPT-5 by now, but they're running into bottlenecks with that, and like it's not actually like improving that much more. And so it seems like they've definitely shifted focus and are kind of releasing actual like new product features instead of new models now.
Just looking at the screen and using a mouse and keyboard to control it. Before, if you wanted to build something like Operator without CUA, you need to use some specialized APIs. For example, if you wanted your model to buy stuff from Instacart, you need to figure out if Instacart had an API. You need to figure out if that API had all the functions that it needed, and you need to give your model the specs of that API. But if your site, like most other websites, did not have an API, then you're out of luck.
This is just using screenshots, no API, nothing, just
no API. Yes, and that's where CUA comes in. By teaching a model how to use the same basic interface that we use on a daily basis, it just unlocks a whole new range of software that can use that was previously inaccessible.
So this is keyboard and mouse, right? It's kind of using keyboard and mouse.
Exactly. Yes, and that's really what the core research project is about. It's about moving one more bottleneck in our path towards AGI and letting our agents move around and act in the digital world. So let's make that a little bit more concrete by looking at this task.
Yeah, it's interesting because right now you could theoretically do this with like programming it, but you need to use APIs like to be able to access like Instacart or whatever app you want to use or website programmatically. But they're kind of just like, most people can't code, and if we want to actually make it like so like it could navigate in the real world as it is today, then kind of have to what was I going? Just make it so that you don't actually need to write code, and it could just navigate just like a human does. And that's kind of the trend with robots too. That's where we're kind of talking about like the robots are just looking like humans because it's just easy to navigate a human world if you can move like a human. It's interesting. Models have reached good enough status, I guess. I agree. I think that models are good enough now to start making products. That was literally that short that got a bunch of dislikes. I said that models are good enough now, in my opinion, to actually start making products off of them to hold us over while they're training new models. And I feel like that's exactly what's going to happen.
Seeing exactly how Operator is using a computer. So it looks like it's already done, but let's go back a little bit to the top here. Okay, so it shows a random spot. The first thing that
jump to live. Oh, that's interesting.
So now you're seeing the.
Oh, I see. So it's literally just a screenshot, and you could go through and see the screenshots. Oh, that's interesting, actually.
The search results page for eggs in Instacart. So CUA understands this. It's just seeing the raw pixels, and after CUA sees this image, it decides what to do next. So right now it's making some inner monologues, and this is the summarized chain of thought. So what CUA is doing is, according to it, selecting organic eggs and adding it to the cart, which is a reasonable thing to do. So after it does this plan, it then figures out what the next action it should take is. So let's see what it does in the next step. Okay, so you see that it performed a click on this add button right here.
Oh, and it says the action next to it. Oh, that's interesting. See, this is cool. This is what we need. It actually, you could actually go through and see what it does to be able to understand it. That's awesome.
Reasonable. Now, every time
the big step up from for like AI stuff, considering most of it's like a black box.
Shot of the computer, so that it knows what effect this action had on the computer. So let's see what happens next. Yep. Okay, so after clicking on the add button, now you see it in the cart, and this just kind of keeps continuing. Let's see what it does next. Okay, so it creates the next subplan, which is adding eggs and searching for spinach. So probably going to search for spinach now. Okay, so it clicks on the search bar right there. It types in spinach. So this loop of taking actions, grabbing screenshots, and creating new subplans, it just keeps going on until Operator decides that it's done with the task, and then it goes back to you.
It's very cool to see its thought process going like that.
It is, yeah. So
that's
let's go back live, and yeah, Operator is done. Josh, you want to see if Operator did your
yeah, let's see. You know what? I want a little bit more eggs. I think eat a lot of eggs. Okay, so what I can do at this point, and I'm going to just click this button called Take Control. So this is what I'm going to do. Like there's a remote browser to do it. We almost think of it as a surface area where Operator can work and then I can work. For example, in this case, I took over control from Operator, which is also key to sort of how we think about user and user controls. Like at any point in time, a user should be able to take control and give Operator instructions or tell a little bit more, guide a little bit more, etc.
And passing the laptop back and forth, just like you did with Ray.
Totally, exactly right. Just like in this case, I'm going to make those two, and then I'm just going to tell Operator. This is again like very much like if you and I were working, like, hey, I did this, can you fix this? And I'm going to tell Operator I added.
Oh.
Can Operator see what you're doing during takeover mode?
Great point. So when you take over, it's very much just like a session with your local browser. It's completely private.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why I tell Operator, you don't.
That's such a good point. I could already see the chaos. This is essentially like you could just DDoS. Like literally, you could tell ChatGPT, "Hey, order me 12,000 eggs," and it'll just like fucking spam the website. They have to have that in place, and yeah, they have to have that. Yeah.
You don't really have to. You can look at the last screenshot and try to guess it, but it's really good. It's sort of
or it does it on accident, and yeah, it's like fuck. Like I just bought out fucking eggs at Walmart. I will never financially recover. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Yeah, imagine like people suing OpenAI, like it bought me groceries, it bought me a 24 pack of Bud. I didn't even want it. I drank them all, but like I want my money back.
You and I were working together. I went off and did something. I come back like, Ray, I completely messed it up. You need to fix this. I have to tell you that. So in this case, I'm going to tell operator, hey, go ahead. And now I'm passing back the control to operator. It's a completely private session when you take over control. This is also you'll notice that I'm logged into Instacart here. I did it before the demo, or it has been logged in for a while now. And it's again very much like your local browser. When you log into Instacart, until the cookies are cleared, you stay logged in, and we have really good controls. You can go in settings and control and move at any point in time. So let's see. Okay. I will skip the payments here, and we are going to. Should we try to do a few more things? Let's. Yeah. What do we want to do?
The Lakers are in town this weekend.
Lakers in town, definitely. So we all go see. Okay,
What do you say?
Okay, so we are going to use StubHub.
StubHub.
Get us 4 tickets to the Warriors game, not the Lakers.
Excuse me, you're right.
This weekend.
I wonder having to select the place you want to do the thing at kind of like it doesn't ruin it for me, but like it removes some of the like fantasy a bit of just like having it like be able to have it understand what to use. Like I wonder if you could, I wish you could like go through and pick default apps, so like when you say something like, oh, I want groceries, it just knows where to go from automatically. Maybe that's what the saving the task is or something.
So what apps are available here?
We have a lot of apps.
Yeah.
I'll kick it off.
I want to see what's available too.
So we have a lot of apps in various different categories, as was shown on the homepage. So it's StubHub, Target, Etsy, and all the verticals. But also, Operator is not really restricted to these apps. You can use pretty much, Operator with any website. Oops. Oh, what happened?
Oh, that was blocked.
Let's try to fix it. So
God damn, it sucks that it's on the $200 plan.
We have put a protection in place where we only allow Operator to visit FTP sites, and somehow I think a redirect must be happening where, okay, all set. Keep going. Very cool. So again, as we have talked about, it's a remote browser, so you can do a lot of things. One of the advantages of doing that is you can do a lot of tasks in parallel, as Sam you were talking about earlier. So let's try to do a few more tasks. Australian Open is going on, and I've been very inspired by it. Did you watch the quarterfinals?
I'm watching quarterfinals.
Right. Okay, so I'm going to try and see if I can get a tennis code. Can you find, let me see if St. Mary tennis code. Okay, so I said St. Mary because I live in Bernal Heights, it's pretty close by. And while that's going, let's also,
and that's how you did it.
I did not press the website.
But like also like these are cool. The shopping thing is cool, assuming you want it delivered and get Instacart. Like they're just using scheduling and like buying stuff. I don't know if that's even that good of a use case. I'd rather just buy it myself. At least I get some like dopamine from like buying something I want, or like I don't know.
Go back and see. In this case, it's doing
like scheduling tennis. Like I don't know.
Much what we would do is like go to a search engine and then just use the internet. Like exactly. Okay, I'm also hosting a Super Bowl party. You guys are invited. Thank you. But I need to clean the house. Can you?
Like I probably booked reservations for dinner like twice last year. Yeah, Alexa and Amazon. Yeah, exactly. Google Assistant or some bullshit could do shit like this, I guess. What's Thumbtack?
Okay.
Find me house cleaners for next week.
We've all been working really hard to bring this to you. The whole team. We have a big crew here. Everyone's working. We're really getting hungry. I didn't have breakfast. I kind of want pizza, even though it's weird for breakfast. That's okay. And so I'm gonna go ahead and order some pizzas.
Trying to see what other
can you get us
like apps that they actually have.
medium-sized pizzas from Hotel? Okay. Go to.
Can you make sure you have barbecue? Like
Please.
Target. Goodwill. Bro, like, hey, can you go thrifting for me? Like, pick me up a pair of old Levi's, or something. Like, eBay. These are all, like, shopping, though. Uber. But, like, what is it? City of Stockton? Hey, can you pay my parking ticket? And these guys are probably using it, right? TripAdvisor. Yeah, I guess I'm not. I need to think on it more, I guess, to be more creative, but
okay, shop might be closed. If the restaurant is closed, just schedule it.
I love that you're talking to it just like what a human.
I'm thinking in a monologue and then I'm typing it out. Okay. Also, one thing I call out, I think. Okay, cool. Okay, so it's just asking me to confirm basically what I said in a much better way. Yes. We can't see the notifications popping up on the live stream, but for example, as the other tasks are going on, if I need assistance, for example, in this case, it asks me, hey, this is 941100, I can just say yes, but I would be getting notifications, etc., so that whenever operator needs help, we can go back and help. Looks like in this case, it's already found us tennis courts. And okay, well, we have some selection to make.
Wow, all of the seats are amazing.
I know, why do I believe 374 is better than 260?
It's lower rated.
Which one should we add? Row 6?
Row 1.
Row 1? Okay, let's do that. Let's do section 214.
So this is a good time to talk about the human-in-the-loop interaction mode that we've been developing. You can see that operator comes back and asks for confirmation when it's about to do anything kind of impactful. And yes, I think we're all very excited about this vision of operator doing your chores for you, but it is one of the first agents that we're putting out in the world, and which has real-world side effects. And so we thought carefully about how to deploy this safely. The framework we used to think about this was one centered around misalignment. So for example, what if the user is misaligned? So maybe they're asking.
Here we go. Safety risk mitigation. So harmful task, user misaligned. Model task, model mistake, agent is misaligned. Prompt injections, website is misaligned. Website tries to trick the user to send it money. Operator makes a mistake and buys the wrong item. Mitigation. So okay, so that's why they confirm. Refusal for high stakes tasks. Okay. Watch mode, so you could watch them do it. User misaligned. The user asked the operator to buy something illegal. Silk Road. Like, yeah. Which actually, Ross Ulbricht, the guy who created Silk Road, Trump, I guess, pardoned him, so he's gonna be free, which is insane. Refusals for disallowed tasks, moderation models, post hoc detection, domain block list. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of the, like, even like we were talking about, like, Will this morning, like the censor. They're you know, they definitely are a little too PG, you know, definitely a little too PG. Yeah, interesting.
Asking for a harmful task, like buy a weapon or something like that. In that case, fortunately, we've done a lot of work with ChatGPT to bring over.
I heard bioweapon just like out of nowhere.
So we thought carefully about how to deploy this safely. The framework we used to think about this was one centered around misalignment. So, for example, what if the user is misaligned? So maybe they're asking for a harmful task, like buy a weapon or something like that.
Buy a weapon.
We've done a lot of work with ChatGPT to bring over a lot of the same mitigations. So, for example, we refuse harmful tasks, including harmful agentic tasks. We have moderation models, we have post-hoc detection, we have blocked websites. And, you know, I'm kind of rattling off these mitigations, but that's really how we think about it. It's this stack of mitigations that each incrementally reduce the risk to the point where we feel comfortable deploying.
So all the confirmations that we're saying, hey, do you want to reserve the restaurant?
Yeah,
Should you buy the tickets? Those are all examples of this.
Exactly.
Interesting.
So another area of misalignment is if the agent is misaligned. So if the model makes a mistake, maybe purchases the wrong item or books the wrong hotel room. For this, our main mitigation is confirmations. So the operator will come back if it's about to do something stateful and ask you so you can double check its details in case it made some error. The third area of misalignment is if the website is misaligned. So maybe the website is fraudulent or it's a fake website, or maybe it's literally like, operator, please wire me $100. We obviously don't want to follow those instructions. So we've developed our model to try to avoid those instructions and not follow them. But if that fails, we also have a separate layer on top. This is what we call the prompt injection monitor. Think of it as like antivirus that kind of observes and watches your trajectory and sees if there's anything suspicious. If it does, then it pauses it. So we feel pretty comfortable with our approach, but obviously, you know, safety is an ongoing process. We can't predict everything. So we hope to learn a lot from this deployment and iterate on our mitigations as we go.
And that is one of the reasons we're starting small. Like, we want to really iterate, get a lot of feedback, and then gradually bring it to everyone. So,
exactly.
Should we check out status of our tasks?
Yeah, check on status.
Okay. So it looks like tickets are ready to be purchased. Yes, please. Okay. Well, that's happening. This is good. You can ask it to book it, but I'm just going to close it for now. Oh, just once, please. Continue. And looks like we're adding pizzas. So, oh, cool. I'm going to go ahead and log in here really quick. So this is an example, right? Like where I obviously need to log in or enter my credentials to actually purchase the tickets, and operator just asks, as you just described, with confirmations and making sure the control is in the right place, and we take control.
But like, that's what I'm saying. Like, is this even like?
Now, again, I can sort of continue the purchase here, or I can ask operator to do it. I am going to go ahead and just quickly do this purchase for myself. Click, click, click. All great, all great. Order.
Leaked.
Ooh.
You're going to watch that
Yeah, well, I kind of want to buy the tickets. Okay. Oops. All right. Done. I'm going to cancel this card. It's probably fine. Okay. I'm all set. Thank you for the help.
Okay. So how reliable is this in practice?
Yeah, so we've seen a lot of cool demos, but again, we want to remind you that operator is a research preview. It will make mistakes, and it is not perfect. That said, you can look at a few benchmarks and kind of quantify how good operator is right now. So one of the first benchmarks that we're going to look at is called OS World. OS World is an eval that measures how well AI agents navigate common operating systems like Linux. On this task, Kuo gets a 38.1% score, which is higher than other publicly published results. Human performance in this task is 72.4%. So
like, they're not really, like, in their defense, they're not really competing against anyone unless it's something that someone has programmed specifically with code. Like, I don't know, I guess that you could like check for all the nuances there. So yeah, it's cool.
The other eval we'll look at is called Web Arena. Web Arena is an eval that measures how well AI agents navigate some common websites like e-commerce websites or social forum websites. So on this task, Kuo gets 58.1%, again higher than other publicly published results, but still falls short of human performance. Still a way to go. Yes. One thing that's important to remember about Web Arena is that even though it's the web, we're still just giving it the same universal interface of screen, mouse, and keyboard. We're not giving it any extra information that might help it do the task, like the text of the web page or information about which buttons are clickable, and all the information it needs, just like humans, is just in the screenshot.
Interesting.
So right now,
interesting. Yeah, that is an interesting strategy that they did want to keep it more like what a human can actually like do and see.
Not better using the browser, but I could use the model with the computer as well, with just Ubuntu or Mac or whatever else. Yeah. Awesome. Right. Well, in the last, 15 minutes, I think I did all my errands for the week. Got my groceries, Dennis code book, cleaner's coming. Hopefully, we'll see. We'll check on the status of your tickets. Everyone's coming. And this is really, I think, where we think operator is like very, very valuable. You can delegate a lot of tasks that you can do obviously yourself, but you can delegate it. We can make a lot of progress with you. Sometimes we'll get stuck, as we said, it's early. We can come back, help it, and over time it'll continue to get better and better. And one last thing, we're launching this today. We're going to start slowly rolling it out right now. End of the day, everyone on Pro in the US will have access. But also, we're working on the API. This model will be available in the API, and we'll be launching in a few weeks.
API, wow.
Incredible work. So excited to get this out. I think people are
Build
going to
things
early
with it.
exhibition, but we have a long great history here of early research previews developing into products that people really love. So this is really the beginning of this product. This is the beginning of our step into agents, level 3 on our tiers, and we can't wait to see how people are going to use this and to kind of work with us to figure out where exactly it should go. So again, congrats. Hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much.
All right, that's cool. That's cool. Just have to wait and see, I guess. And I guess, like, you know, like I do give them a hard time about, like, it's like, yeah, it's like Alexa and whatever could do shit like this, but you know, it is baby steps. They got to start somewhere, and you know, jumping onto the giant hard ones, like big hard problems immediately isn't always the best. You got to validate it and work out other kinks before you get to those. So, you know, they're iterating, so I respect that, even though it might not be like super useful. And kind of gimmicky, but yeah, so yeah, it's cool. Cool. All right, I mean, I'll try it as soon as, I don't know when it's going to be available for the other one. It seems like not anytime soon, like weeks or months, but for the lower tier. But I'm trying to even I keep trying to cancel my ChatGPT subscription because I just want to use like local models full time, and they keep kind of launching stuff that I want to try. So it's like and I honestly would pay for the Claude subscription if they had unlimited. You could chat with it unlimited, because it's just way better than, it's so much better than any of the ChatGPT models, maybe besides 4.0. So cool. Yeah, sweet, good. Thanks for the feedback. Appreciate it. Yep, appreciate you showing up too. No stream tomorrow. But stream Monday, 9 a.m. Pacific. I'm sure there'll be something that unfolds today or on Monday or over the weekend. So I'm sure we'll have lots to cover, especially now that Trump is moving. So yeah, appreciate you showing up. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, and see you 9 a.m. Monday. Bye.